The court allows Grandma 2-day monthly visits and bans third-party surveillance of Mary. Mary's privacy is protected. On Friday night, following tradition, Frank dropped Mary off with the neighbors, who took care of her like she was their own kid. They had a blast, but Frank, sulking at the bar, bumped into Mary's teacher, who was completely clueless about Grandma popping up out of nowhere. Before long, they started discussing the education of girls and miraculously had completely opposite views. The two ended up drinking and gaming, getting tipsy and no. You don't want to say it? What? I just want to point it out. I just want to say. I seriously want to say. I just want to say. I just truly want to say. I just want to say. But I truly just want to say. The teacher feared Mary's sudden appearance, but Frank said she was at the neighbors and would return only next day. So, all is good. The next morning, Mary realized her favorite DVD was missing and dashed back to look for it. As soon as she got home, Mary had the most unwilling expression, and the teacher zoomed off, embarrassed. Frank couldn't help losing his temper at Mary and feeling hurt by his words. She hurried off to her own room. After realizing his impulsive action, Mary's feelings got even more tangled. After Mary's reflection on her own impulsiveness, her mood turned even more perplexed. Subtitles. Frank hurriedly entered the room to offer an apology to Mary, and gradually her mood started to improve. However, Frank predictably got court papers, just watching Mary head off to Boston to spend 2 days with Grandma. Mary arrived in the big city, and Grandma wasted no time keeping her busy. First, she showed her daughter's pictures and then shared old stories of tackling math problems together. Grandma hinted Mary's life calling, but Mary only cared about the piano at her house. But before she could play, Grandma scooped her up and took her to bed. The next morning, off they went to MIT. Mary spotted 7 frames on the wall and asked Grandma, why are 6 of them empty? Grandma replied that these are the 7 millennium problems, and so far only one, the Poincare conjecture, has been solved, while one of the others is the Stokes equation, which your mom. Grandma was overjoyed and said she could help Mary, then took her to meet a well-known math professor. But Mary stared at the problem on the board, brows knitted, unable to find a solution. The professor glanced back, clearly convinced that the girl lacked math talent, and Grandma angrily whisked Mary out of the school. However, a single sentence spoken by the girl ignited a fresh glimmer of hope in her grandmother. What if the problem remains unsolved? Grandma suddenly realized the professor had purposely tricked her to test Mary and immediately marched her back to the classroom. After Mary corrected the error, she quickly wrote the correct answer, leaving the professor stunned at the board. Turns out this girl is a genius. The professor couldn't help asking if you already knew the problem was flawed. Why didn't you speak up? Mary replied, I thought I wouldn't prove it because nobody likes a smart aleck. Grandma took Mary home, and soon a third party would come to ask Mary questions to determine custody. Mary told her uncle she liked Grandma because she looks like her mom. The house was spacious with a big piano, but she didn't want to live with Grandma due to her overbearing nature. Uncle reassured her, Don't worry, you are not here anymore. Is that a guarantee? Definitely. Mary relaxed to meet the third party, telling them she told the truth as Frank instructed. If you knew Falk, you'd run for the hills. He can be annoying, but he's actually a nice guy. What are you talking about? You want me to be Falk's lady? At the second court hearing, Grandma somehow found Mary's biological father, who she had never met. She manipulated the father into naming Grandma as custodian using money. Luckily, Frank was prepared for this tactic. She claimed the guy hadn't tried to find Mary since her birth, and he feebly argued that he had made an effort. The lawyer immediately handed him the computer, asking if he could search for Mary's name. The man froze, unaware of Mary. His lips crumpled instantly. The subtitles reveal the judge unequivocally took Frank's side, but Frank accidentally revealed a mistake. He informed Mary of her birth father's court appearance. making her lock in the room, sobbing. You need some direction, and I'm here to help. You should have someone worth leaning on. To comfort May, I headed to the maternity ward, 3 of them waiting outside. As each time a newborn arrived, someone would run out to announce it. Families would gather during this heartfelt joy. Uncle told Mary I was the one who announced your birth. This brought a smile onto Mary's face, and she excitedly ran to the crowd to join in the cheering. They welcomed the arrival of new life together. At the 3rd court hearing, Grandma boldly declared her daughter was no ordinary woman but a prodigy. She's not just a mother, she's contributing to the advancement of humanity, Grandma proclaimed. When it was Frank's turn, Grandma's lawyer sharply brought up his flaws. She pointed out that Frank's sister was a Boston philosophy professor before her tragic end, but he dropped his career after her death. He quickly took the girl to his current home with no steady income, working as a destitute mechanic at the docks, leaving Mary without a good living environment.